Hello, my name is Walker Johnson. Today I'll talk to you about the importance of dog training. Have you ever had a puppy and just couldn't figure out how to make it stop biting, stop chewing, or potty train it? The difference between owning a dog and owning a well-trained dog is astounding, but the importance behind keeping your dog in your control is what I'd like to inform you about today. I have personally trained Labrador Retrievers at a professional breeder/training facility for the purposes of both obedience and also hunting. Also, I have researched the topic thoroughly. Dog training is the most essential part of owning a dog, and this comes with a lot of responsibility. The most important methods for training your new dog are to train by association, be steady on discipline, and to be repetitive. Today, I will first explain the importance of training your dog to learn by association. Second, I will discuss the importance of discipline in dog training. And finally, I will explain how being repetitive leads to a better behaved dog. Dr. Stanley Coren from PsychologyToday.com said, "More than 200 years ago, the philosopher John Locke described learning as forming an association, which is actually a mental connection between events that occur in some sequence." Training by association is the most important part of dog training to understand for both you and the dog. There are a few different approaches to association training, but the simplest is through rewards. Your dog must understand just as well as you do what the difference between good and bad is. You must condition your dog to understand that for good behavior there will be rewards. For instance, I am a black lab. She is trained through association. When she was a puppy, she was rewarded with basic commands like heel, sit, stay, things like that. Every time she got something right, she would get rewarded with a pat on the back and lots of praise. When I say praise, I mean things like saying good dog, good girl as you're petting them to reward them for their good behavior. The time dedication in dog training is ample, but the most important part is that everything must be timed right. Your dog will never understand why he or she is being rewarded if the reward comes late, and can cause some confusion for both you and the dog later on down the road. The United States Humane Society also spoke about how timing is important in training in their positive reinforcement article. They said, "The reward must occur immediately, within seconds, where your pet may not associate it with the proper action. For example, if you have your dog sit but reward him after he stood back up, he'll think he's being rewarded for standing up." But not everything in dog training is for rewards. There will also be lots of discipline down the line that your dog is going to need. Discipline is the hardest part about owning a dog. Dog owners tend to feel cruel or evil when they know they have to discipline their dog, but the easiest way for you to have a well-trained dog is for that same animal to also understand who their handler is and understand that there will be consequences for wrong actions. There are really two types of training: obedience and behavioral training. Obedience training is where your rewards will most likely come in handy. The point in time where discipline comes in handy is for behavioral training. A lot of different dog breeds have genetic behavioral issues. These issues are much easier to fix than the new dog owner may think, but first you have to get a grasp of what the issues could possibly be. Sharon McGuire from the Dog Breed Info Center spoke about the importance of behavioral training when she said, "Behavioral training prevents and/or corrects bad habits that your puppy or dog may develop or has already developed. Jumping, car chasing, begging, climbing on furniture, and chewing are just a few. None of these habits are traits that you want your dog to carry with them for their life, and they'll cause a lot of stress for you and both you and the dog." One method of discipline that can be viewed as a way to train a dog out of bad behavior rather than as a form of punishment is a shock collar. Shock collars send electric waves throughout the dog's skin, quickly catching their attention as to what they've done wrong every time the handler presses the button. These can be used for many different things, but the best is for behavioral training. When used correctly, a shock collar can fix many different problems that you're having with your new dog. Sergeant Lou Castle provided a great example of the proper use of a shock collar when he said, "Most trainers use the e-collar as a positive punishment. The dog chases deer, so they put the collar on the dog, and the next time he starts chasing deer, they blast him with a high-level jolt of electricity. He learns that chasing deer leads to an unpleasant experience no matter how far he is from his handler, and the behavior becomes extinct." This quote explains how the dog processes the shock that he is feeling and what it leads to. Now we have learned about association and discipline, but the most important part of dog training that connects all of these things together is consistency. You must be repetitive for all of these things to work. In order for your training to hold, you have to be consistent with the dog. Training should happen every day, and the animal should understand when it is time to do what. Being repetitive with your dog will help them to form their own routine. For instance, my dog knows every morning when the sun comes up, it's time for her to get up and eat breakfast and go down the driveway and get the paper. She knows when it's appropriate time to play, and she knows when and where to use the restroom. All these things are part of a schedule that she repeats every day and has gotten used to. The United States Humane Society agreed when they published an article on how to house train your dog that stated, like babies, puppies do best on a regular schedule. The schedule teaches him that there are times to eat and times to play and times to potty. If your dog creates their own schedule, it's likely to be a mess. But if you train your dog on a daily schedule, they will learn to be a much better behaved animal. Another thing that's important when training consistently is to make sure that everyone who will be socialized with your animal understands the commands that you use and they use the same ones when they're around your dog. In a different article posted by the United States Humane Society, they also stated that consistency is key when they said, everyone in the family should use the same commands. Otherwise, the dog may be confused. It might help to post a list of commands where everyone can become familiar with them. Consistency also means always rewarding the desired behavior and never rewarding the undesired behavior. This quote shows how crucial it is that everyone who will interact with your dog speaks to them in the same manner that you would. In order to have a well-behaved dog, there are so many things that you could research and read up on, but the 3 things that I've discussed today are the most important things to know when raising a dog. Today, I explained the importance of training your dog to learn through association. Secondly, I discussed the importance of discipline in dog training. And finally, I explained how being repetitive leads to have better behaved dog. After all of these methods have been reviewed and carefully practiced on your dog, you should be able to use basic commands on your animal and have a well-trained, house-trained dog. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Walker.